Welcome. This is the first video in the notes about the mathematics of elections. These notes are going to broadly follow chapter 1 of your book, but of course you should still read the book because there's more details in that text. And I'd say the major goals of this chapter is to recognize the different ways to hold elections, and also to recognize that the different ways to hold elections may result in different winners, even if people's opinions aren't changing. So with that, we also need to accept that there's not really a best method. However, I am going to present ways that are better than others. So with that, let us move on and ask the first question, which is, what do you even need in order to have an election? And so the first thing you're going to need are candidates or choices. Choices to make. These things could be like people or policies. There's just different things to choose between that a group of other individuals is going to kind of decide about. So that beckons. The second thing that you need is people who are voting. And for the purposes of these examples, you should just pretend that's you. Another thing you're going to need is a way to record a voter's preference. This is usually a ballot, right? The ballot. You'll need kind of the type of outcome that you're interested in. And this is kind of like, do you want to just select one winner? Or rank the outcomes? Rank the candidates or choices. You can imagine an election where the person who is selected as the winner becomes president, and the runner-up or second place person becomes the vice president. And then fifth is the the voting method or way to choose the winner. Or based on the ballots. Like how to count the ballots, really. Based on the ballots. And this is what we're going to focus on the most. This will be our focus. Our primary focus. How there are different ways to kind of count up the votes on a bunch of ballots. Okay, so let's talk about first, though, different ways to create a ballot. So there's kind of two ways to categorize ballots at least in the ballots that we're going to talk about. There's two ways to categorize them: the single choice ballot and the preference ballot. And the single choice ballot is the one where you're only allowed to choose one of the candidates, and there might be many different choices, but you're still only allowed to like voice your opinion about one of them. And then the preference ballot, you rank the alternatives, so there might be many options, and you get to kind of assign, oh, this one's my favorite, this one's my second favorite, and third favorite. So we're going to focus almost exclusively on preference ballots. And you might see why. There's just more information contained on a preference ballot. A preference ballot can be converted to a single choice ballot by only paying attention to people's first choice. So before we sketch a few types of ballots, let's just make the remark that regardless of which type of ballot you have, whether single choice or preference ballot, you can always produce a ordering of the winners. So if you're gonna go with the example that I was saying before, where you choose a vice president and president based off people's responses on the ballot, you can do that with either a single choice ballot or a preference ballot. All right, let's get some ballots. So one type of ballot would be the choose one. And you might have 3 candidates or 3 choices. Choice A, choice B, and choice C. And this is the ballot that you're familiar with. You like have a bubble and you need to fill it in. But you only get to choose one. This would be in opposition to something like choose those you're okay with. You're okay with. Where you might still have the same options. Choice A, choice B, and choice C. But instead, the limitation is not just that you have one vote. You could be like, I'm okay with B and C, as long as it's not A. That's yet still different from a ballot that said that asked of you to rank all. And still choice A, choice B, choice C. And they just had blanks next to them. And you say, oh, okay, well, C's my favorite, A is my second, and choice B is my least favorite. You could have a ballot where it was kind of reverse of that, where it said, list your favorites. And the 1, the 2, and the 3 were already there, next to some blanks. And you filled in, choice C here, choice A, and choice B. Which is still yet different than even another, where it said something like, rank all again. Where you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like assigning in a point system to things. Choice A, choice B, choice C. And each one had a little box for you to select. And you got to vote for in each of the category, for each of the choices, and assign your preference in that fashion. Some kind of point system. So you might come in and be like, oh yeah, choice C is great. Definitely giving that one a 4. B's a 2 and A's a 3. So you can see all of these ballots are pretty different. We're going to focus pretty much just on these ranked choice voting. So ones that look like this and like this, where the choices at the end of the day are ranked. And we will look at different ways to decide the winner of elections based on ballots that look like this. Okay, see you in the next video.